Pinsec used to do this.
Are you still butthurt about that?
Not me. Pinsec is, though. Yeah, I tried to call him the other night and he just wouldn't talk to me, really. Are we cool, by the way?
Psych!
Fucking Fred. Cameraman Fred. Cameraman Fred!
Ah, that really hurt!
Back to work, okay? Are you okay? Well, welcome back to another Rise to Critics. We got Fred behind the camera again. Welcome back, cameraman Fred. Okay, so anyway, I have a new 3DS game I want to talk about today. I know I've only been doing 3DS game reviews, but I kinda like doing them more than movie reviews. So let's talk about Fantasy Life, a new game I got. Had a lot of fun playing. Hello? Greg?
Yeah? What?
Hey. What are you doing here?
Just hanging out.
What's that?
This?
Yeah.
A DVD? Look at it.
It's a movie called Tower Heist.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've told me about this movie actually quite a bit before. A movie with Ben Stiller, Matthew Broderick, and a few other people.
Mm-hmm.
And also, is that Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, that's Eddie Murphy.
That's Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy's a funny guy. So way back when, we actually made a sketch called Neighborhood Heist, which I had no fucking clue what I was doing it, but Greg did because Greg's the one who wrote it, and he's a huge fan of this movie, Tower Heist. So we made the video, and he's actually, I think, making another...
I'm sort of redoing it again for a project in college, and actually, you're part of the cast.
So I guess that means maybe I should watch the movie. I mean, I'm trying to get my cast back. I managed to get Fred back. Having you in a review might be kind of nice, though. You want to watch this fucker, then?
Sure.
Give it a review?
Yeah.
It's time for Rise to Critics, bitches. Webcam mode. We got the movie on the main menu now, and we're gonna watch and record ourselves watching because I don't know why not. So that was certainly something else. I actually have to say I wasn't sure what I was going to think of Tower Heist. The only thing I went off is what Greg said multiple times, and the fact that I actually do really like heist movies. One of the more recent ones I saw before this was Now You See Me, and that one was the one with the magicians, and I thought it was a really fantastic movie, very clever. The only thing I hated about it was the ending, because I felt the ending was a very forced way to throw in a plot twist that really didn't make a whole lot of sense, especially with the way the guy acted. I'm not going to explain it because you should watch the movie. Just be aware the plot twist at the end doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But Tower Heist was really good, and I wouldn't say it's as good as, you know, Now You See Me, because I liked that one a lot, but I will say it was a lot funnier than Now You See Me, and I also will say I like the ending a lot more, but I'll get to that. Let me start off with the plot, actually. The plot was pretty good. It wasn't anything extremely clever, and most of the plans that they had, like with the big reveals, I kind of predicted them. For example, there's this one scene where they're trying to create a diversion, so they have one guy driving out in a car that's supposed to be hiding what they stole, but then when the police catch him, they open the car and what they have stolen is not even in there, and it was just a trick. And I already saw that one coming. I called it, and there was a couple other scenes like that too, but there were a few surprises in there, so it's not an extremely clever heist movie, but it's mostly supposed to be a heist comedy, and it was pretty funny. I laughed a good bit. Maybe if you were watching that one part, you probably saw me laughing a few times during that. And I kept a smile on my face throughout most of the movie. I liked it. I thought there were some cool scenes. I thought the part where he smashed the car was really awesome. There wasn't anything too intense about the plot, but it was good for what it was. I do really like the ending of this movie, actually, though. I'm not going to say what happened in it. If you want to watch the movie, because it was worth watching for sure. But I think what they do with the ending is actually very clever, because usually when you have a hero in your movie, you'll see he goes out like a boss, but he doesn't exactly get the happy ending. And I really like what they did with that, because like going back to Now You See Me, it was a very sappy ending. It was like very, again, it didn't make any sense. This one was a good way to end a heist movie. It was a badass ending. The characters. Okay, I'm bad with names of characters unless if it's a TV show. If it's a TV show, I can get to know their names, but for a movie, I almost always forget. I remember there was a character named Josh Kovacs, and that was Ben Stiller's character. But for all the other ones, I'm just going to be kind of going off of names or descriptions. Like, I know there was Matthew Broderick, there was Eddie Murphy. I don't like Matthew Broderick. I like him in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and that's about it. In this movie, he was okay. His acting wasn't great, but I admit he made me laugh, and I really like the part where he pulls the gun and he starts acting like a trying to act like a psychopath. And that I thought that was funny. Eddie Murphy is kind of like hit and miss for me. Sometimes he's hilarious, sometimes he's meh. This movie, he met halfway. He wasn't at his funniest, but there were some really funny scenes with him. I really like the car scene, which is actually one that we recreated in Neighborhood Heist.
No, I'm not a cop.
Think I'm some sort of freak gonna stimulate my nutsack?
Ew, no.
Man, I don't even know your name.
I am the man in the suit. We talk almost every morning.
Every morning I see a little pass-by going by and I say, hey, what's up, biatch? And then they walk away.
Remember daycare in 1999? I was the kid with an oxygen mask.
Oh, I do remember you. You were that little Caesar voice having them Caesars all the time.
But there was a lot of good bits of Eddie Murphy. Not a Ben Stiller fan. Liked him in this movie. I mean, I'm really not a Ben Stiller fan. I don't think I've ever been that entertained by his movies. Not even like the popular ones like Meet the Parents. But I did like him in this one. This one was an exception for him. You also got the detective lady, FBI lady, and she's all right, I guess. They kind of start to do something with her character, but then they kind of stop. You got the Puerto Rican guy, or Indian guy. What was it, Greg?
He was I think, yeah, he was Puerto Rican, but he was part Cherokee Indian.
Okay. He didn't do that much. He was funny at the beginning of the movie as they kind of brought him in, like, he didn't do that much. I mean, he was part of the heist, of course.
He was sort of just there.
Yeah. And Matthew Broderick was kind of like that too, but Matthew Broderick at least had those scenes near the end, especially with him like hanging off of the car. Yeah. That was pretty intense. Then you have Josh Kovacs' brother-in-law, and I didn't like him. I didn't.
It's Ben Affleck's brother, Casey.
Ben Affleck's brother, yeah. It wasn't even that there was, like, he was actually right most of the time, because he was like I'm the one who's against this plan, but I'm going through with it anyway. And he was kind of right about everything he said, but I didn't like him. I don't know. I thought he was just kind of bitchy throughout the whole movie. Also, I really hate the antagonist of the movie, the old guy. He was such a fucking douchebag. I'm so glad he got, like, what he deserved in the end, because he was, oh my god, he was the biggest fucking douche. I like villains, but not when their only personality trait is being a fucking asshole, okay? Production quality. The music was very nice, the camera shots were beautiful, the scenery was really good, the action scenes were done really well. It was a very well filmed project, and the editing, like I said, shots, action, just putting it all together, because editing is one of the most important parts of a movie, whether it was done well or not. Very well, very visually entertaining. comedy was pretty good. I will admit, when I'm watching a comedy, I kind of like a few more laughs, but it kind of made up for that with some awesome scenes in the movie. I got a few good laughs, mostly out of Eddie Murphy's character, a little bit of Matthew Broderick, but that was about it.
So, as Mikey had mentioned briefly about the plot, I actually like the plot. That's probably one of the reasons why I really enjoy this film. And if you guys watch my channel, FalconVideos01, one of my more recent videos was a top 10 favorite movies that are my favorite movies that are not in a type of series, unless there's only 2 in this series. But anyway, and this Tower Heist actually was one of the. It was in one of the top 10. I think it was 9 or no 8. I can't remember, but I really enjoyed this film. It's I remember seeing this in theaters when it came out. I think the plot was really interesting. That's one good thing to say about it. Okay, I enjoyed the characters. Casey Affleck's character, Charlie Gibbs, the brother-in-law of Ben Stiller's character. He's all right. He does have some important things to say and do. He's kind of the whiny guy about it. He's like, oh, I don't know if this is really a good idea, and not really a wuss, but he's the guy who just doesn't think it's the best idea. Now the wuss would be Matthew Broderick's character. What's his name? Mr. Fitzhugh. He's a guy who was evicted from his home in the tower because of his economic problems, but he decides to help him out, get some money back for the employees and whatnot. And then there's what's his name, Devereaux. He's mostly Puerto Rican, but he's part Cherokee Indian. He's kind of just there, doesn't really have anything funny to say. He's just the average guy, I guess. Then we have Eddie Murphy, probably the funniest character there. He's probably my favorite character in the entire thing. He's kind of the second in command, even though he was just called in by Ben Stiller's character. The main villain, played by Alan Alda, who you might know as Hawkeye from the show MASH. For some of you little dinglings out there who are so up to date on today's stuff, for lack of a better term, you might not know what MASH is, but it's an older show from back in the 70s and into the early 80s. But he's a pretty interesting character. Kind of like Michael said, he's a bit of a dick, but it's kind of what you kind of have to have, I guess, to make this movie work. And then Ben Stiller's character, who plays a guy named Josh Kovacs, like I said, he's the brother-in-law of Charlie. He's the leader of this entire scenario. He's not necessarily funny, but he's there for a reason. He doesn't necessarily have to be funny. But like I said, yeah, he's there for a reason. And without him, this movie would be a piece of crap. I mean, seriously.
I thought Ben Stiller was very entertaining in this.
Yeah, so he was alright.
We also forgot about the chubby black lady.
Oh, yeah, I
Right
forgot
there.
her name, Odessa. They didn't really want her in the entire thing, but when they realized that they needed somebody to crack a safe, which I will say, not to try to ruin anything, if you want to hear the ending of this movie, watch my review of the film on my channel.
Yeah,
but anyway, the safe wasn't necessarily. It wasn't necessarily the main thing of the whole ordeal, unfortunately, which is they find that out later. But they needed her to try to crack the safe, and they, like I said, they didn't really want her in it. But when they found out that they needed somebody who really knew how to crack safes, they're just like, oh crap! I guess we're gonna need one more person. So they get her. She's a maid of the tower. She's not necessarily funny. She's interesting. She's one of the only important females in this movie, but she works.
Well, that's the end of Rise of the Critics, and I'm gonna go back to playing video games. And I want to do a fantasy life review for next episode, actually. Considering your relationship with handhelds.
Relationship? I don't have a relationship with this thing's rear end.
I was going to say, consider your relationship with handhelds, you probably wouldn't want to do a review on Fantasy Life, so should leave.
I'll go do that.
Yeah.
Screw you.
This thing's off like every single time I'm filming this.